The Denver Nuggets get a dominant win over the Sacramento Kings to revenge the loss from just a couple of weeks ago. The Nuggets, they have now won 11, and I repeat, 11, just like season 5 of Stranger Strange's drop. The Nuggets look to be up to something new as well. Can they break the NBA record? The NBA record is 16. They have a chance in the next couple of weeks, but is that record even important? And also, the Nuggets are resting an awful lot this week. 3 days before the Kings game, 3 days after the Kings game as well. Will this do them some service as they get ready to take on the rest of the season? Yo, that's Ryan, this Swiper, and this is Locked On Nuggets.
You are Locked On Nuggets, your daily Denver Nuggets podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's going on, y'all? Welcome to the Locked On Nuggets. This is your daily Denver Nuggets podcast at the #1 podcast network you can find for sports. I'm telling y'all right now, this is going to be a great episode. We got Ryan Blackburn. We got Swiper. We could not give you a post-game show last night. I decided to take the night off just because there's been a lot going on lately. This has been a little bit of a grind all year for people in media, the players, the coaches, the staff. But look, we're going to be refreshed and ready to go. Can't wait to give you today's episode. By the way, today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. If you want to be right in the middle of the action, visit FanDuel.com and place your NFL live bets all season long, especially as the Denver Broncos about to take on the Green Bay Packers as underdogs.
Underdogs at home. Underdogs at home.
11-game home winning streak for the Denver Broncos, and yet they're underdogs on a 10-0 streak in the NFL season. So it's going to be a lot of fun. Can't wait to get to that. But y'all, this is going to be a great episode. The Denver Nuggets, man, they were on a mission yesterday. You know, if you listen to Matt and I before the game and yesterday's show, one of the things I noted, Ryan, was that I want them to get off to a good start. I want them to take care of the end of the second quarter, and I want them to put the game away in the third. They got off to a great start, 41-27, I believe. They took care of business at the end of the second quarter as well, and then in the third quarter, they put their foot down. Yesterday, Ryan Blackburn, in just 3 quarters, Nikola Jokic, 36 points, 12 rebounds, 8 assists, 2 steals, 14 of 16 from the field, 2 of 2 from 3, 6 of 8 from the free throw line, plus 26. Dominant
is that
game.
Good? is that good? Is that a good performance? It's another day at the office for Nikola Jokic, man. I mean, that's a ridiculous game, and unfortunately, it got a little bit of injury luck. Drew Eubanks went down, and he would have killed Drew Eubanks anyway. But like Domantas Sabonis already out, so they started Maxime Reynaud, who's a rookie for them and very undersized from a skinny perspective. Like he was bullied by both Jokic and Valanciunas last night, and then their alternate for that was Precious Achiuwa, who is a power forward masquerading as a center. So pretty easy for Denver to kind of go to Jokic and Valanciunas over and over again. But shout out to Jamal Murray for setting the table for Jokic on several of those plays, and Jokic just on another planet right now.
Yeah. You know, right now, the Nuggets have won 4-0. Does it feel like it? Does it feel like the Nuggets won 4 games straight?
No, but only because they have been off for so long. Like usually in those situations, you're like, all right, win. And like, this has been, okay, there's a win. And then they had a 3-game winning streak on the road, and then they came back and had several days off. So it's a little bit weird, but I mean, it's been great. They've won every single game they've played over the course of the last week.
So we're in a situation now, you know, and I got corrected because I thought that the 18-6 record for the Nuggets was the best that they've had in franchise history. But I believe, Ryan, they've actually had a couple starts that's been better than this historically. 1983, 1978 might be another one as well. But Ryan, they're 18-6. They're on the path to winning 62 games this year. So if you put all that together, and Jokic is averaging another 30, 12, and 11 season now, he's going crazy. Jamal Murray's having an all-NBA caliber year, maybe third-team all-NBA. Cam Johnson is figuring things out. They're still starting Spencer Jones and Peyton Watson in place of Christian Brown and Aaron Gordon. Does it feel like this has been the best start that we've had in the Nikola Jokic era?
Well, I'm looking at the 77-78 Nuggets through 24 games, which that's where we are now. They were 16-8. So this team is 18-6.
Okay.
And if I go to, we'll just scroll forward next a couple of times. You said 83-84.
Maybe 83, yes.
82-83. 83, 84. So 82, 83, they started the year 10-14. So that's definitely not the year. But the next one, they started the year. I don't know where you were getting your information. The 83, 84 was not
can you
like
look through the
below
records?
500. 84, 85. That one they started 15-9. So I do think that this is the best start in franchise history. I do think that this is what you would expect from a team of this caliber, what you would expect from a team that has these level of expectations and that level of top player. But also, like, I made mention of this a couple of days ago. The Nuggets are a good team when Nikola Jokic is playing like this, but they're a great team when Jamal Murray is also playing at an all-star level. And this early in the season, just having somebody that could take the pressure off of him on occasion, having somebody who can augment what he does really well. It's a layer early on in seasons that the Nuggets have just not had before. So like what he's doing, what Murray's doing has really unlocked a lot of things for Denver. And then they're playing enough defense around it. They're having enough role players kind of step up and do the right things. Their schedule's been relatively easy to begin the season, even though like they've had a lot of travel. They have mostly played teams that are either like below their standard or not necessarily playing at the right level at the right time. But I think that'll change. They're playing Houston in a couple days from now, and then they're playing Houston again later in the week. So going to be interesting to see whether they could keep it up. But I do think, yeah, this is the best start in franchise history. This is the start where you can really establish expectations. If only there wasn't another team that was 24-1.
And does that, I think for Nuggets fans, and I tried to explain this on the show last night, I think that's diminishing the experience for some Nuggets fans because they're like, well, OKC's 24-1. I'm like, okay, well, you're not the Golden State Warriors of 16, and you're not the 2025 OKC Thunder. Those are completely different scenarios and situations. They have 3 all-NBA players in their roster that are there. They also have a dearth of depth of talent that you just don't have. Yeah. And then on top of that, like, they're just a different situation. They're being led by the greatest defense of all time, possibly. It's just a different league. You know, the Nuggets, I do think, though, Ryan, you know, when I went through the schedule yesterday and just kind of looked at where the Nuggets are, they actually, in my brain, based on where they actually have played this year and how well they played, they should be at worst 22-2 this year. That loss to Dallas shouldn't have happened. The loss to San Antonio probably shouldn't have happened. The loss to Sacramento shouldn't have happened. The loss to New Orleans for sure shouldn't have happened. But the Portland and the Golden State loss, you know, whatever, that happens. But there a difference between showing up in these games versus the Kings and the Bulls and the Pelicans or whatever, and then getting those wins. That's the difference between them being 22-2 and 18-6. I think the year is going even better than folks realize. Yeah,
I firmly agree. You have these reminder spots where, okay, you can't just coast through what you're supposed to, like, you can't assume that you're going to get it done because of the team that you're facing. You can't assume that you have to go through the actual process. You have to start it from start to finish, go through the process. And Matt and I have talked about this before, and we've talked about this in the group chat. This is kind of like a very San Antonio-esque team where there's a baseline that you have established, but you're not rattling off these long winning streaks for the most part. It's mostly, okay, 4 to 5 wins, and then you have a loss, and you're like, okay, that's annoying. That's frustrating. And then you remind yourself, okay, I can't have that again. And you don't let it turn from 1 loss into 2 losses in a row or 2 losses into 3 losses in a row, and you get back on track. But Denver's had these reminder spots where, yeah, they lost to Dallas, but then what did they do right after that? They went on a 4-game winning streak. They had the San Antonio loss where they really struggled. What did they do immediately after that? They dominated Phoenix, who started the season really well. So every single time that they've had one of these letdown spots, they've responded really well. And that's what you want to see from this team. You don't need to see them go 65-17. You don't need to see them go 74-8. You need to see them win about 58 to 60 games, establish themselves as the 2 seed in the Western Conference, and then rest down the stretch and get themselves ready for what is going to be a supercharged matchup at the top of the Western Conference.
Now, this is what I love right here. Royal plus 19A. That's the problem with stat watching. You miss what's actually in front of you in regards to the Nuggets record versus OKC. You know, I don't know if you ever heard the 80-20 rule in the Tyler Perry movie, but the 80-20 rule is that sometimes when you're a partner in life, you get 80% of everything that you want and what you need. But then when you look out to the world a little bit and you see that person walking down the street, that's the 20% that you're missing. What you don't want to do is lose the 80% that you have for the 20% you think you don't have, because it's not an equal exchange in the deal. And I think in this situation, you're with a person who loves you, supports you, and is there, and they're consistent, and they're about to make another run through the playoffs, another deep run, and they're not even fully healthy right now. I think that everybody in Denver and in the sphere of the Nuggets area, they should be in love with this team because this team is the most special that we have seen in the history of the franchise.
Sorry, I just wanted to make a joke. Ladies, I'll give you 80% of what you need.
On the other side, we're going to talk about Jokic because you know what? I think we just don't talk about him enough. And I think there's some reasons why. But yesterday was just another game in the notch of an all-time great season. We'll talk about all that and more here at Locked On Nuggets. Guys, it's 2025, almost 2026, and those days of waiting on something to become a full-blown emergency before you see a doctor, they're over. No more walking it off for 6 months. No more pretending that weird shoulder stiffness is just sleeping wrong. It's time to take your health seriously, and Zocdoc makes that easier than ever. Because staying healthy is more than hitting the gym or eating right. It's about actually getting things checked out when something feels off. Using Zocdoc makes scheduling easier. Search for in-network doctors and book the right app. Super helpful for routine checkups and those little issues you've been meaning to get checked out. I've used to schedule appointments quickly when I didn't want to wait weeks. So stop putting off your doctor's appointments and get the care that you need. Go to Zocdoc.com/LockedOnNBA to find and instantly book a top-rated doctor today. That's ZocDoc.com/LockedOnNBA. Zocdoc.com/LockedOnNBA. Woo! Now y'all know I love me some Doer. They are the most comfortable pair of jeans that I own. I'm not going to lie to y'all. I went to the Atlanta Hawks Denver Nuggets game the other day. The person that I was with, they looked at my jeans and said, I love the way those jeans look on you. And I am not lying. I'm telling y'all the truth. This happened literally last Friday. I got comments on the Doer jeans. They are that good. And I've been recommending the Doer jeans to all of my people and all of my friends. They are invented with original performance denim. They give you the best of both worlds, combining classic jeanswear style with the kind of comfort that gets you not just great comfort, but they look good, they feel good, and they make you play good. These are the type of jeans that you can go on a date with, the type of the jeans that you can go out to the movies, go hang out with your friends, or you just need to make a run to Trader Good or Whole Foods. They're great for everything. I love Doer. They have been phenomenal. So it's time for you to experience the comfort of Doer. I know you'll love these. Pick up a pair for yourself or as an amazing holiday gift. Check out the Doer store here in Denver at 2621 Larimer Street. Mention Locked On Denver in store to get 15% off your first order, or check them out online at shopduer.com/LockedOnDenver for 15% off. That's shopduer.com/LockedOnDenver. We'll be right back for more here at Locked On Nuggets. We are back here for Locked On Nuggets. Shout out to you all with Ryan Blackburn. Make sure if you're watching this on YouTube, the cool voices of Swipa and Ryan Blackburn, go ahead and give us a 5-star review on Apple, iTunes, and Spotify. Go ahead and give us a like, share, and subscribe on YouTube. And you just say, hey, those guys with the great hair, with the great voices, with the great fits, with the great Doer jeans. Let's make sure we show them love. So, y'all, Nikola Jokic, Ryan Blackburn having a phenomenal year, phenomenal season, and dare I say, underrated season. Now, if you look at the Kia MVP ladder today, Nikola Jokic continues to topple the leaderboard. He's number one, averaging 29.5 points, 12.3 rebounds, and 10.9 assists. He's top 5 in scoring, number 1 in rebounds, number 1 in assists, and he's shooting 61% from the field. The Nuggets are rolling 18-6, and he just dropped 36 points versus the King. Just dropped a 40-piece, 49-8, I believe, versus the Atlanta Hawks. Honestly, in a game that he didn't start off playing well at all, but ended the game playing phenomenal, especially in the fourth quarter. I believe he had 11 points in the clutch time as well. Ryan, Nikola Jokic, the reason why I put, as you see here, a planet-level threat. Anybody in here that is a One-Punch Man fan, they have tiers of threats. The highest tier is your planet-level threat. This dude is literally walking into NBA arenas and announcers are like telling ghost stories about Nikola Jokic, the way they're talking about him. He's playing that well.
I mean, we're seeing it in a lot of these road games where you've got the road announcers that you're listening to on TV, and like every single time you go back and look at the highlights, and then they're filling time and they're filling stuff in on their broadcast. It's just, especially when you go to the Eastern Conference, it's a little bit different because the Western Conference folks, they've seen it a lot and they get frustrated by it a lot. With the Eastern Conference guys, especially on this last road trip that they're on, it is just constant crediting. It is constant lifting up and just showing appreciation for what he has done and what he has shown to the NBA. And you look through the numbers and like, yes, the numbers are what they are. Like he's putting up one of the greatest seasons that we've ever seen from an efficiency, volume, playmaking, and just combined with winning standpoint. Like when he's on the floor, the Nuggets are dominant. They're about as good as you could possibly be. The on-off stuff is a little bit different because now like the Nuggets they're surviving a little bit more without him. And as a result, they're 18-6 as opposed to 16-8 or 14-10. And so it's able to be appreciated a little bit more. Again, it's the like comparison is the thief of joy in a lot of these cases where you're still comparing Denver to OKC and you're comparing one MVP candidate's record to another as a result. And that gets a little bit annoying for like just appreciating greatness. But you're right. Planet level threat, man. Like there's a reason why the Nuggets are still the second possible like title contender on a lot of these odd sites.
Yeah.
Because nobody actually believes that anybody else other than the Nuggets can take down OKC right now. And Jokic is the planet level threat that could do it.
Yeah, and on the year, again, if you look at Adaptability, he's a plus 13.6 net rating this year. And when he's played this year on offense, the Nuggets have a 129.7 defensive rating. Garbage time filtered out, brother. Like, Ryan, I mean, we just kind of pass it by because at this point it's like, okay, yeah, well, the Nuggets every year they got the number one defense in the NBA. When Jokic is on the floor, like obviously that's like amazing. That's
definitely
great.
Offense, not defense, for what it's worth.
Right. Like so, right now the Nuggets have a 114.6 defensive rating with Jokic on the floor, which is, it's not great. That's right now he's hanging around like Cooper Flagg, Julius Randle, Nickeil Alexander-Walker. That's kind of where they are right now. But the Nuggets have a 127.9 offensive rating per NBA.com, and then when you filter it out for garbage time on Databaller, it's 129.7. That's the greatest offense of all time.
Yeah, it's the best. It's the best that it's ever been.
This is including with Spencer Jones and Peyton Watson, brother. This is where it's gotten.
They've been adding to it. Like shout out Peyton Watson, by the way, who had 21 points on 10 shots last night and had a really nice finish in transition and has been doing a lot of things. Just like there was one play where Jokic just flips a pass into him while he's cutting down Main Street, and somehow Peyton Watson doesn't travel and still is able to finish that for a layup. Like they're finding ways, and Jokic is the ultimate adaptive player to whatever your skill set is, however you're going to impact the game. He can make it work. He can kind of finesse his game around what you're good at in order to become the best that the team can possibly be. And so I've been very impressed with the way that he's handled it, very impressed with his approach. I credited on Pickaxe and Roll this morning that like Jokic in a lot of these situations, the team will, especially when there's a couple of days off, will relax, will definitely give themselves a little bit of a buffer. They'll allow 130 points defensively because they weren't quite ready for it. The Nuggets were ready for it this time, and Jokic was a big reason why.
By the way, this live's been going around on multiple sites, including my channel last night and also on PC today and now in the chat. The Nuggets are number one in offense and 28 in defense. No, they're not.
That's not true. Like who is saying that?
This happened multiple times. They're currently 17th in defense, but but it actually went up yesterday because they actually held, I think, them to a 102 defensive rating yesterday. I want to say, but look, now this is what I will say, Ryan. I think they're about to play hard as crap for the next 3 games. Now, does that mean great defense every game?
Oh, they're very knowledgeable of the home struggles that they've had in comparison to the road, being as great as it's been. But they're very, very knowledgeable of like they haven't been as good at home as they want to be. Like even in it's funny, the post-game presser last night with Katie, Jokic said it's nice that we have this road win streak that we do, but would prefer it at home. So I think everybody there knows it, everybody there understands it, and they are like 4-game homestand over the course of this next week and a half or so. They are going to really try to lock in for that.
I have a real question for you on the other side of this because they currently maybe could have an NBA record. How important is this, by the way, to you? We'll talk about all that and more here at Locked On Nuggets. New year, new systems. And this time, when a lot of us look at the messier parts of running a business and think there has to be a better way. And there is. Today's episode is brought to you by Quo, spelled Q-U-O, the smarter way to run your business communications. If you're ready to make your workday smoother and keep customers connected without the headaches, Quo makes upgrading your setup easier than ever. It's a streamlined system that makes such a big difference when communicating with customers. Being able to share one team number makes it so much easier to make sure nothing gets missed. It's surprisingly easy, and you can work from your phone or computer, keep your existing number, and add teammates in minutes. Make this the year where no opportunity and no customer slips away. Try Quo, and for free, plus get 20% off your first 6 months when you go to quo.com/LockedOnNBA. That's QUO.com/LockedOnNBA. Quo, no missed calls, no missed customers. NFL Sundays move fast. One big play and suddenly everything feels different. That's what makes live betting with FanDuel so exciting. You're not just watching the game. You're reacting to it in real time. With FanDuel, you can place bets as the actions unfold. Every drive, every momentum swing, every highlight moment. Live betting is best when the game starts to shift. A receiver gets hot, a defense tightens up, or the momentum flips after a turnover. FanDuel lets you jump into the moment. Live spreads and money lines adjust instantly. Player prop update as odds heat up. You can bet the next touchdown score, drive result totals, and more. It keeps you locked in every snap, every drive, every possibility. So if you want to be right in the middle of the action this season, visit FanDuel.com and place your live NFL bets all season long. FanDuel, the game moves fast, and so can you. We'll be back for the final segment here at Locked On Nuggets. We are back here for the final segment of Locked On Nuggets with Ryan Blackburn and Swiper and the Denver Broncos. Huge game at 4:25 Eastern Standard Time versus the Green Bay Packers. Ryan, what is your prediction for that game real quick?
Oh, man. You know what this Broncos team kind of reminds me of is last year's Philadelphia Eagles team, where they just finally just find ways to win. They can be dominant, but sometimes it's like a lot of 7-point wins. It's a lot of 10-point wins. It's a lot of really close wins. I think that they find a way to get it done. I hate making predictions, as you know, because no jinx. But I mean, it seems like they have found some real rhythm here. And as long as they can establish a run game against this Packers team, then I think they'll be okay.
By the way, this is the same Packers team that lost 10-13 to the Cleveland Browns in Cleveland. This is the same Packers team that lost to the Panthers. This is the same Packers team that lost 10-7 to the Philadelphia Eagles. And this is the same Packers team that was in a dogfight through the first part of the fourth quarter with the Cincinnati Bengals. I have been watching this team all year. They are super talented. They are good, but people are very much underestimating just how good Denver is. And I actually think this game has potential for a little bit of a blowout, but that's me. That's a hot take. And again, we'll find out tomorrow or on Sunday. But y'all, Ryan, so currently the Denver Nuggets are on an 11-game win streak on the road. Okay. They're dominating on the road. They look great on the road.
Oh, yeah.
The next few road games, they play Dallas, okay, on December 23rd.
Second night of a back-to-back.
Second night of a back-to-back, but they already lost to Dallas, so you know how it works. You know, you can't lose 2 in a row. You know, that's the way the world works, right? So then after they beat Dallas, they'll then have Orlando, Miami, Toronto, and Cleveland. That's to tie the record. And then to break the record, which would be 17 straight games won on the road, they would be doing it versus the Brooklyn Nets and Michael Porter Jr. One question, the first one is, or two questions. First one is this streak important to you at all? 2, do you think they can actually break it?
First one, yes, it is important. And the reason why is because Denver's never had a streak like this. They've never, like, they haven't even won 10 actual games in a row before during this stretch. So it's been really interesting to see this develop and see them maintain focus, where like most teams in this situation, Swipa, they they'll give up a road game every now and then. They'll lose focus on the road. Other teams will get going. They'll let go of the rope, and then you allowed 130 points, but it was on the road. It wasn't in front of your home fans. It's fine. Denver's been the opposite for some reason. I don't really know why that is, but I think a lot of it is because they have struggled at home. They have struggled to maintain focus, that they then realize, okay, we can't let that happen on the road too. So now this is where they're really locking in. I think it does matter. I think it's a cool thing. It's something that should be celebrated. Will they get it done? Will they set the franchise record? No. Or set the NBA record? No, they will not. Those games that you mentioned are pretty tough. Like they are a pretty tough stretch of games. And like whether it's this back-to-back versus Dallas, okay, you want to say that they get through that? Fine. But then going on that 7-game road trip that they have, like I cannot foresee them focusing up for that long in a row. Like I understand why, and I understand that they've already gotten to this point. So why couldn't they go any further than they already have? I just do not see it. I think that Orlando is a pretty good team. It's the type of team that they struggle with. I think Miami, they'll win that game because, or maybe because I said this now, they won't. But usually they dominate versus Miami. But I'm actually looking at that Toronto game and then that Cleveland game as the two ones where, okay, even if they get through those, like the Toronto's, like that's New Year's Eve. That is New Year's Eve in Toronto, sir. Like they're going to have a blast. They're going to have an absolute ball. And then 2 days
after
later,
the game.
And then after that, they have to go at Cleveland, where Cleveland's about to put up 160 points in regulation.
Cleveland's not even good this year, brother.
But they can score. They can still score. And you're thinking that Darius Garland will be back for that and ready to go. So I have a difficult time believing that Denver can focus up for that.
Yeah.
And that's a part of it is because I think they're going to start taking care of business at home during this stretch. Like I think they're going to start flipping this thing where now the home record is going to start to really improve. Mm-hmm. But like something's got to give. They're not going to win 26 games in a row. So like I think that some of the losses are going to come on the road this time.
So I looked at this. So I've been putting apart this recent schedule. So they got Houston, Orlando, Houston, Utah. I think the Houston, Orlando, Houston game, they're going to take serious. Like, you're about to get like locked in Denver. Because one, they beat Houston again. They're 2-1 on the season, at least at the very minimum. That's important for them, I think, from a standing standpoint. Orlando's coming in, no Franz, all Paulo, just a different team. They're good. They're still good. But I think also that's another game where I think, Jamal, Jalen Suggs, that's going to be fun. Remember, it wasn't last year. That was 2 years ago when Paulo had the 30-point triple-double in Denver. I think it was 2 years ago.
I think that was last year, and I think they lost that game. I think Murray had some questionable decisions towards the end of that Orlando game, if I'm mistaken, and they lost that one, and it was a pretty jarring loss.
Yeah, he kept trying Jalen Suggs in the game that it just wasn't working. I remember that.
Yeah,
but then I think the Houston games are important, man. Like, I just think they're just better than Houston. Houston's good though. Like even without their starters, like I think they're still better than them. But we'll see if they can split that. But brother, they're going to go on the road versus Dallas. They're going to beat Dallas. Like, because there's just no way that Adelman is just going to let them what you did. Dallas has the worst offense in the league. They put up 131 points on you in the last game.
It was ridiculous when they did it, and I hope they feel shame for it.
So I'm assuming it's 12 in a row. The question becomes, after Minnesota on Christmas, which is in Denver, they on the 27th got Orlando, Miami, Toronto, and Cleveland. I think they just have to take it one game at a time on the road. That's the biggest thing, because I wouldn't even think about it, but Orlando, you beat Orlando, then you just worry about beating Miami, and then you get momentum. They like playing Miami to beat Miami, but then now Toronto becomes the one, because Toronto has that swarm Darko defense. And Jakob Poeltl's not been great this year, but Jakob, he can have good performances sometimes against the Nuggets.
Yeah.
But it's a Murray homecoming too. If they can just get to the Murray homecoming and allow Murray to carry the load, I think you got a chance versus Cleveland to see if they can tie the record.
Jamal Shed playing pretty good basketball for them is a tough defensive guard. So that's a tough matchup for Murray. And not okay. Let me rephrase. Murray can go through tough matchups, and he's I think proven that this year that he's just fine. But like he's been so good that you expect a pullback at some point. So I don't know. It'll be interesting to see whether they can do it. But I'm very curious to see how they handle it, man.
Will this be a narrative like a 2,000, 1,500 thing if they break this record? Will this be like the narrative of the season that, like, remember when the Denver Nuggets broke the road record?
It's really hard to have any narratives with what OKC is doing.
Let me go back all the way in the chat. Did we not just have an 80-20 conversation about not talking about OKC? They ain't got nothing to do with Denver. Nothing.
But what you're talking about is not Nuggets narratives. It's national narratives. It's like, okay, how are
you create the narratives, Ryan? You have motion. You helped Jokic win an MVP in 2000.
That's true. That's true. It was all me, actually. I don't think Joker did much of anything. It's really like just coming up with some random three numbers. But no, I think that I do think you're right about that. That, like, look, if we care about it, and if Nuggets fans care about it, then it's something that can go mainstream, and it's something that matters. It's something that will be picked up if that does happen. So, you know what? Sure. We're going to start it here at Locked On Nuggets. Folks, if you care about it, then, like, make it known. Make it known that this is an important thing that matters, and that going on the road and dominating the opposing team's home floor is something that matters, and it's what makes Denver such a great basketball team.
But Ron, you see that I've already contributed to local media picking up conversations with the 12 or more lead thing.
Yeah.
We get to game 51, and the Nuggets have had a lead of 12 or more in 46 of 51 games. I guarantee you that is going to make conversations, because at that point it's like, who else historically has done this? Let's look it up. Oh, the Nuggets, they're just as good as the 2001 LA Lakers.
Man, I also want to, or a shout out to this guy who I have no idea if he's a Nuggets fan or not. Nuggets Play Defense Challenge. He says, like, you remember what happened in 2023 when Denver won the title? They were the best offense and the 16th ranked defense. They are currently the best offense and the 17th ranked defense. Like, they will play defense when it matters. And right now, against these kinds of teams, it does not matter how much they're going to focus up. They already showed the capacity that they can lock in and focus defensively. I'm not worried about their defense right now.
I think we'll see it versus Houston, but we'll find out here soon. That's Ryan Blackburn. This is Swipe. But this has been a very fun episode. 174 people in here watching live, man. We will continue to put out great content for you all. Hope you're having a spectacular year. Make sure y'all like, share, and subscribe on YouTube. Make sure you give us a 5-star review on Apple iTunes and Spotify. Make sure, by the way, just so we know, shout out Duolingo. Ryan Blackburn, I don't know if you know this, 53 days straight on Duolingo.
Man, that's pretty good. You're learning a new language? What are you learning?
Learning Spanish, yep, because by the time Bad Bunny get here for the Super Bowl, I'm about to be ready. I can't wait, y'all. Make sure y'all tap in. Y'all know what time it is. This is Locked On Nuggets. We will see you on the other side.